One of the fundamentals of the basics of VAT is that in South Africa, we have two types of VAT supplies. We have taxable supplies and exempt supplies. Exempt supplies means that there's no VAT ever. So no VAT is levied, it's got no VAT consequences. Taxable supplies, however, are further divided into standard rated supplies and zero rated supplies. And the difference between these two is the rate at which VAT is levied. So we all know that VAT in South Africa is levied at 15%, but this is 15% on standard rated supplies because that is the standard rate of VAT in South Africa. But we also have zero rated supplies where VAT is not levied at a rate of 15% but at a rate of 0%. And when we are busy dealing with these supplies, taxable supplies, standard rated, zero rated, one of the fundamental concepts that we have to understand is the tax fraction. Because output VAT, and then by implication, of course, input VAT, is calculated using the tax fraction. And this tax fraction depends on the rate that we're going to use. So this definition and the formula of tax fraction is found in section 1 of the VAT Act. And if you take a look, you'll see tax fraction means the fraction calculated in accordance with the following formula: R over 100 plus R, in which formula R is the rate of tax applicable under section 7(1). Now for standard rated supplies, R is going to be 15, which means the tax fraction for standard rated supplies is going to be 15 over 115. Of course, if it is a zero rated supply, R will be 0 and our tax fraction will be 0 over 100. All right, so for standard rated, our tax fraction is 15 over 115, and that's the one that we'll be using a lot when we talk about tax fractions. Now, when we think about the tax fraction, there are three definitions that we'll be focusing on: value, VAT, and consideration, right? So if we take a look at the screen, you'll see that we've got 100 plus 15 gives us 115. So the 100 in this calculation represents the value in our tax fraction. In other words, value is the amount excluding VAT, and it is represented by 100 in the tax fraction. VAT is the rate of VAT, right? So our VAT component is the VAT, and we use that as 15%. And then consideration, which is represented by the 115, that is the amount including VAT. So whenever you are dealing with a VAT question or scenario, or a client comes to you for VAT advice, these concepts, value, consideration, VAT, is super, super important. Consideration is the amount including VAT. Value is the amount excluding VAT. And VAT, of course, simply means the rate of VAT.